So the CPI data drops at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. How will the market react? Let me know in the comments down below. But Nomad says something very nice here. It kind of breaks it down for everyone that wants to know, what this really means. So CPI data drops in a few hours if inflation comes in hot, rate cut is delayed. Risk assets could wobble short term, which of course is the crypto markets. We could see some choppy levels happening. If it comes in cool, rate cuts back on the table, liquidity boost for equities and crypto. Fingers crossed for the latter. Let's keep this cycle pumping. So next few hours very important, and hence I have said in the past update that this week we could expect a little bit of volatility. But welcome back to the Crypto ZX channel, to the XRP holders. Appreciate you guys as always looking across the board. Of course, as we are going into the morning, market is already reacting to that. XRP down about 5% right now, with the price currently sitting at $3.15, down 2.4% in Bitcoin comparative. Valuation at 186.5 billion, and the 24-hour trading volume approaching $9 billion. But before we get into any further, as always, just a quick disclaimer: anything on this channel is not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence and research when you are investing in crypto. So as the market is, kind of seeing a retracement going into the CPI, announcement, yet you're still seeing these things being completely forgotten about. The comments, that I'm seeing from a lot of, people are on the bearish side. But we also need to keep in mind that we were in the greed territory just a few hours back. So a little bit of a pullback is needed, and a little bit of a shakeout is needed before we do head towards the upside. But again, you don't want to be forgetting this. US spot Ethereum ETF saw over $1 billion in inflows on August 11, making it the largest daily net inflows since its launch. Once again, another record broken for Ethereum ETF inflows. And again, if this is not waking you up, I don't know what will. You're seeing major amounts of institutional interest coming into ETH, and I think ETH is on its way towards a new all-time high. And of course, I think the market is going to follow, Ethereum momentum, specifically the altcoin market. So I think still we're going to see a lot of positivity, but you do need to consider the CPI meeting, what kind of impact this can have on the broader market. And we do need to see a retracement, especially after what we have seen happen with BTC. Remember, future markets, if you really truly understand how that market works, you understand how market makers tend to, obviously manipulate the market. Those are factors that you don't really want to be forgetting about. But take a look at this: another day, another IPO. So Peter Thiel backed crypto exchange bullish increases IPO targets to 1 billion valuation, up 60% from earlier's goal, with backing from JP Morgan, Jeffers, and Citi. There we have it, another IPO for a crypto-based company. What is this telling us? How does this impact XRP? Remember, Ripple wants to go public as well. Brad Garlinghouse has not been shy about talking about going public, and this is that craze, that IPO craze right now for crypto companies. And I personally believe, if these types of companies are, pulling these numbers, imagine the announcement of Ripple going public. I think that would, break records, and it would send shockwaves. And I think that is something that I'm more than confident, in my personal opinion, they are already starting to, think strategically about, because I'm sure they want to launch this as perfectly as possible. But I think, there's another example right in front of us here to really tell you how crazy of a craze that we're witnessing right now. But on that note, Ripple is laser focused on building liquidity across key currency pairs, primarily through its cross-border payment solutions and the use of XRP as a bridge currency. They are reducing friction in cross-border payments, which supports the company's mission to improve global financial interoperability. And with the launch of RLUSD, it's pretty much a win-win situation, especially when you talk about RWAs. And look what Jake says, I'm more bullish on XRP than ever. New projects are launching on the XRP ledger, and Ripple's payment software keeps expanding now, reaching new users in 80% of global trade corridors. the network effect is only getting stronger. And if you take a look at the numbers as well, the XRPL numbers that came up, I think 2 days back, while we shared that on the channel, we can see a big uptick. And, in terms of competitors as well, it's sending big shockwaves, got a lot of people talking. But take a look at this here. An XRP ETF could outperform Ethereum ETFs according to Canary Capital CEO. And what he kind of goes in this update is pretty much talking about the demand factor, how big the army is, how big the community is. And on top of that, with the way, Ripple is really kind of shining itself compared to its competitors, the years of building, it kind of, speaks for itself. And I personally, agree with the Canary Capital CEO that, we are going to see XRP ETFs really shock a lot of people. And not a lot of people think that, but once you see, not a lot of people thought that about Ethereum as well. To be quite frank with you, just 2 months back, it wasn't even that exciting for Ethereum in terms of inflows, but recently has gotten really, really exciting. And I think we're going to see something similar happening with the likes of XRP, especially, with the buzz that's around it. It has a lot of buzz. It has a major community, one of the biggest communities in crypto space by far. And, with the lawsuit officially coming to an end, I think it is going to really bring in a lot of eyes on this digital asset. And what also the Canary Capital CEO says is, it's easy to understand. People that understand it are going to be, more. Again, you're not just like blindly picking these projects. You always want to be doing your due diligence, research, and investing where you can afford to lose. And XRP and Ripple is easy to understand for regular day-to-day investors if you kind of, read more on it. But take a look at this. Shout out to Smoke. Just in August 2025, U.S. Faster Payments Council report confirms ISO 20022 and blockchain compliant. Complement each other. So a global consensus is forming with the stablecoin adoption leading to what the future of blockchain represents to cross-border payments. ISO 20022 and blockchain complements each other by enhancing payment standardization, efficiency, and transparency. Their integration can help bridge the gap between traditional finance and decentralized finance, driving an improvement in financial inclusion and real-time global money movement. And of course, we know how that kind of impacts RippleNet, which is ISO compliant, and that's where XRP really comes into the picture as well. But let's take a look at what's happening with the prices. So dominance right now did pull down since the morning. You can see, we have been pulling down, but we're still sitting at about 60.57%. As mentioned in my HBAR update as well as Dogecoin update, I want to see the dominance sitting below 60.42%. Very important. So that's that. But if you're looking at BTC right now, take a look at it. Bitcoin is sitting at $122,000. But as we are going through the CPI day, we have seen the price of Bitcoin see a retracement, and we did see a lot of longs getting liquidated. But 24 hours ago, we saw a lot of shorts getting liquidated based off of this big bounce. So again, a lot of volatility right now with BTC, which of course is going to impact the altcoin market. If you're looking at XRP, it's still ranging around the $3.13 mark. We do have significant amount of support around this range, obviously, dating back to the 2018 levels. And most importantly, let's kind of take a look at it on the weekly time frame, but not much support, kind of from that range. It's more of this year. You can see, we kind of built some support around here, and that exact same support is holding. And XRP in a grand scheme of things is holding really nicely right now. Of course, we cannot be forgetting what's happening with Bitcoin and the dominance, but so far so good. Do let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. If you have not subscribed, what are you waiting for? I'll see you later in Crypto ZX, and peace out.